actually, hardware.
When did that happen? Is it just like last year? Or like,
Oh, no, this happened a
oh,
long time ago.
oh, okay.
Because I remember, like, my wife's cousin, he was, like, the head of the Pacific Rim for IBM. And I remember him telling me that they went from ThinkPad, they sold that idea, that concept, that they wanted to get out of the hardware business. So they sold to a Chinese firm, which is Monroe. I don't know what happened after that, but that's the story.
That's a story.
All right, it's 7:02. If everyone could please rise for the Pledge of Allegiance. All right, I'll make a motion to open the Town Board special meeting of July 23rd, 2026 at 7:03 p.m.
Bingham will second.
Call the question?
Rivera, aye.
Bingham, aye.
Richardson, aye.
Stevens, aye.
Scancarello, aye.
And we'll begin with the general abstract. This is on the amended agenda. Instead of doing from floor, we actually figured out how to do the Civics Plus, so everyone should have it in their program. Mary, do you have it as a part of your packet?
Well, I couldn't print out at home because Optimum was not cooperating with me, so I do have the agenda. I just don't have a lot of the attachments.
Okay. Well, if you need an attachment, let us know, and we'll try to share screens with you, but everyone else should have it. All right, so I'll make the motion to, accept the check run 26-14 general fund abstract, check numbers 38529 through 38560 in the amount of $308,374.55.
Rivera will second.
Call the question?
Rivera, aye.
Bingham, aye.
Richardson, aye.
Stevens, aye.
Scancarello, aye.
Thank you. Let's see. Okay, and beginning new business, so just have a couple things to take care of before our next meeting on Monday, the first Monday in August, and then this meeting is a special meeting specifically for the public hearing for proposed improvements to Water District number 2 and 14. So anyone who has not signed up for public comment, it will be limited to those districts, and you can sign up still with Barbara up here in the front. So I'm going to make the motion to reclassify Pete Arroyo to full-time laborer now that his probationary period has ended. I'm sorry, is there no content for these? I'm just going to make the motion to reclassify Pete Arroyo to full-time laborer 1 in the maintenance department at $22 per hour now that his probational seasonal employment period has ended.
Second.
Call the question?
Rivera, aye.
Bingham, aye.
Richardson, aye.
Stevens, aye.
Scancarello, aye.
Thank you. We're going to need authorization for the supervisor to sign on behalf of Collier's engineering agreement for the Sapphire Lake engineering report. Who would like to read out that motion? It's 4.2. Yeah, it's in the Sapphire Dam.
You see the Colliers?
Oh, okay, so yeah, there's an error. So basically, we just need to make a motion authorizing the supervisor to sign on behalf of the Collier's Sapphire Lake Dam engineering assessment for 2026, and the amount listed in the attachment is $18,500, and he can just say, yeah, he makes the motion.
I need a second on that. The town board of the town of Monroe authorizes the supervisor to sign the Collier's agreement. I need a second on that.
Bingham will second.
Call the question?
Rivera, aye.
Bingham, aye.
Richardson, aye.
Stevens, aye.
Scancarello, aye.
Thank you. Jump ahead here. Documents are up there. All right, so I'm going to go ahead and make a resolution confirming I'm going to make a resolution adopting a negative declaration for Water District Number 2. So whereas on July 6, 2026, the town of Monroe declared its intent to act as lead agency for the purposes of conducting an environmental review for the increase and improvements of facilities of the Water District Number 2, the district consisting of water system improvements, including but not limited to the replacement of existing piping and appurtenances, within the existing well house and the construction of a new atmospheric storage tank, the foregoing to include ancillary or related site demolition and other work required in connection therewith, the proposed action, and whereas the proposed action was classified as an unlisted, and whereas each involved agency was notified by letter of the town's intent to act as lead agency and provided with Part 1 of the full environmental assessment form, EAF, and whereas no other agency objected to the town serving as lead agency following circulation of the notice of intent, and whereas the town board has thoroughly reviewed the EAF, the map plan and report for the proposed action, and information obtained through its own knowledge, the public hearing, its consultants, and other agencies, and has sufficient information on which to base a determination of significance, and whereas the town has considered the criteria contained in 6 NYCRR 617.7 and thoroughly analyzed all identified relevant areas of environmental concern to determine if the proposed action may have a significant adverse impact on the environment, now therefore be it resolved that the town as lead agency for the action contemplated herein, after review of the proposed action, 6 NYCRR Part 617, and EAF, hereby determines that the above described project is an unlisted action, and be it further resolved based upon the information contained in the EAF, the map, plan, and report for the proposed action, and other relevant information before the town as lead agency for the action contemplated herein, and after due deliberation, review, and analysis, hereby determines that the proposed action will not result in significant adverse impacts to the environment, and hereby adopts the annexed negative declaration. May I have a second?
Rivera will second.
Call the question.
Rivera, aye.
Bingham, aye.
Richardson, aye.
Stevens, aye.
Scancarello, aye.
So moved. And now for the resolution confirming the negative declaration for Water District 14, which was established November 15th, 2021. The town of Monroe has lead agency for the increase and improvement of facilities of Water District number 14. The Water District consisting of water system improvements, including but not limited to the replacement of the existing water main and associated appurtenances. I'm sorry, Matt, say that.
Appurtenances.
Appurtenances, thank you. As well as the installation of new water service meters and an emergency generator for the existing well house facility, the foregoing to include ancillary or related site demolition and other work required in connection therewith, the proposed action determined that the above described project was an unlisted action, and whereas on November 15th, 2021, the town further determined that based upon the information contained in the full environmental assessment form, EAF, the map, plan, and report for the proposed action, and other relevant information before the town as lead agency, and after due deliberation, review, and analysis, determined that the proposed action will not result in significant adverse impacts to the environment, and adopted a negative declaration. Now, therefore, be it resolved that the town hereby confirms the actions described in the recitals hereof that were heretofore taken by the town with respect to the proposed action.
Bingham will second.
Call the question.
Rivera, aye.
Bingham, aye.
Richardson, aye.
Stevens, aye.
Scancarello, aye.
So moved. Now we will move on to the resolution authorizing the finance department to execute town vouchers following town board approval. Let me see. Okay, perfect. It did attach. So after discussion with RBT, O'Connor Davies, our representatives therewith, in the finance department, as well as our interim bookkeeper, Cheryl Gross. We took a look at what the biggest bottlenecks in the finance department were. We took a comparative view at other local finance departments in Orange County, and we realized, also taking the advice of former counsel, when questions arose about the 3-signature rule or policy, that basically when a warrant or an abstract of vouchers is voted on at this dais, that's the final approval, and those disbursements, those payments are then authorized by the review of this board. So during audits, if the town maintains sort of an antiquated policy of the physical 3-signature rule, it can come up as an issue, and it was highly recommended by Melissa Zod that we take an immediate action to modify the policy so that the finance department can move ahead with preparing all of the payments and abstracts instead of waiting on and piling up 3 signatures. So I'll read this resolution, and if anybody has any questions, they can ask then. So we have a resolution authorizing the finance department to execute town vouchers following town board approval, whereas for many years, the town of Monroe has required vouchers for materials and services procured by the town to be approved by the signatures of at least 3 board members. And whereas before each town board meeting, the town finance office now provides the town board with an abstract of invoices and copies of the corresponding invoices for review. And whereas after reviewing the abstract and invoices, the town board votes to approve or deny such expenditures or vouchers at a duly noticed public meeting. And whereas to facilitate the timely procurement of materials and services, the town board wishes to authorize a duly appointed member of the town finance office to execute all vouchers following town board approval of expenditures and vouchers. Now, therefore, be it resolved that the following town board approval of the finance office's abstract at a town board meeting, a duly appointed member of the town finance office is authorized to execute town vouchers for the procurement of materials and services on behalf of the town, and be it further resolved that this resolution shall take effect immediately upon adoption.
Second for discussion.
You can take the floor. Sorry, you can have the floor.
Oh, okay. I just wanted to say, yes, I actually used this policy today because there were 2 different vendors in the abstract that I wanted more information on, and the finance department got it to me within, less than 10 minutes, I believe it was, and answered all my questions. And this will definitely save writer's cramp in the future for us, and I'm glad that the finance department can supply this information so quickly now that everything's being scanned, because it really does make it much more efficient.
Okay, perfect. Call the question unless anyone.
So we're going to have this information, we're going to have Thursday, right? We'll have that information so we can review it
Yeah,
prior to the meeting?
Excuse me, Cheryl sent out an email today clarifying that she wants the policy to be 48 hours prior to any town board meeting, so that if the town board adopts a different meeting schedule, that she can then reallocate that gained time to other tasks. So it'll be relating to the town board meeting schedule, 48 hours prior to when you're expected, at least 48 hours prior to when you're expected to vote on it. And she'll be compiling them as she's going, and they're still going to be available for viewing in the finance office as they always have been. This is just formally changing the policy for the auditor so that the law is what we're held to, rather than if somebody voted at the town board meeting and the check went out and there was only 2 signatures, but everyone was agreeant and they voted on it, that it was completely mundane. You can technically get dinged. And also if we're sitting waiting, as you've seen, because you've routinely come in to sign, and it'll be me and you and Mary who are signing, and there'll be depending on our schedules, who can come in, and it's been a bottleneck, so.
One other thing too is, if let's say I decided to pull one of the vouchers, we just have to change the total. All the other vendors are going to be paid. Only the one that we're pulling is going to be held out and reviewed more thoroughly.
It's the same policy, it's the same procedures. So even, I believe Brian Nugent and the former administration spoke about this. they would bring it to the floor of the meeting even if it had 2 signatures because it indicated that it was likely going to be approved. Because then afterwards, when you get the 3 votes, it's still legal, and the final authority is that legal vote. But if you still have the outdated policy on the books that you need 3 signatures, it looks like you're not living up to the policy that you're setting. So it can be action on the audit, even appropriate. And yes, the appropriate way of disputing a charge on the abstract remains identical. Coming in, emailing us, asking what it is, asking for the vendor history, asking for more details, and then coming to the floor of the meeting and making the case. I don't know, if we, for some reason, got a bill that snuck into a voucher stack that we never approved a vendor for, and no one caught it except one board member, before we authorize, that board member simply has to call for discussion on the abstract, state the case, and then make a motion to remove that vendor or check ID, receive the 3 votes, and pass the abstract as per usual.
Aye.
Bingham, aye.
Richardson, aye.
Stevens, aye.
Scancarello, aye.
So moved. Let's see.
Before we move on to public hearing, I'd like to bring a motion from the floor.
We are doing exactly what's on.
No, I can. It's a new business. I can.
Oh, I'm the chair of the meeting, and I'm recognizing what we're doing tonight, and we're not doing this.
We're in new business. This
We're
is the
not.
appropriate
I
time.
actually am starting to the motion to open the public hearing
Can
Why
we
don't you
do-
just let her make her motions?
because
What's the-
we've sat through
Let her
this
make her
time and
You
time
always
again.
made your motions. We let you do it. Let her
So
do
who
it.
has what is the motion? Go ahead.
I move that the town board authorize the issuance of a request for proposals, also known as an RFP, for an independent human resources consulting firm. The town attorney is directed to prepare the RFP no later than August 23rd, 2026, and upon completion, the town clerk is authorized and directed to distribute and advertise the RFP in accordance with the town's procurement policy and applicable law.
I'll second.
I'll call discussion and ask that this be moved to an appropriate meeting date where we have the documents 24 hours in advance. And I'd also like to discuss it in executive because there's financial issues involved, and I have a pre-scheduled meeting. This is a special meeting, and we have several consultants and staff here who specifically requested that no additional items other than what's on the agenda and that no additional public comments be made at this meeting because they've had to sit through hours and hours and hours of what's been going on.
I'll respect your no public comment, but there's nothing preventing us from moving forward with a vote on this motion.
I just called for discussion and asked that it be tabled, and I also have a rebuttal and other related research to this, so.
I think we should really vote on it because an RFP is going to give us an idea with budget time not that far away. If we get an RFP in a month, and then you have to allow time to respond to the RFP, you're into budget time. You need to know what those amounts are going to be. This is not going to be able to take effect tomorrow. It's just laying the groundwork so that it can be addressed appropriately in the budget.
An RFP has to detail what service we're requesting.
And that's why I think the motion was for the
Excuse me.
attorney to make the RFP up. And then they would have to coordinate with the town clerk's office in order to set the public hearings.
That's not how it works. That's what I'm trying to say. And I would rather have this discussion in executive so that we don't have these conversations where it looks like there's dysfunction on the board because we're having this for the first time here. There's specific municipal.
This is not the first
You're now
time.
speaking on top of me.
I'm just saying this is not
You're
the first
now-
time that we have talked about the need for a human resources
And I've
consulting firm.
rebutted each time with you have to define what it is. You want somebody on campus doing specifically what?
May I ask a question? I'm sorry to
I
cut you
still
off.
haven't been able to give my rebuttal, but go ahead, Louis.
I'm sorry. So my question is, and this has been brought up several times before, so how many towns in Orange County have an independent human resource department? Good question, right? So,
Town of
and
Chester
I'm
just
not
got
looking
one.
at anybody in particular, but I'm just saying, I don't believe anybody has an independent HR
The
department.
town of
Excuse
Chester
me.
just got one.
Why would we
Excuse me.
bring
Excuse
excess
me.
spending to the table?
Excuse me, the town of Monroe prior had an independent HR company.
I'm really just going to have to
So
call
we're just
order
going
here.
back.
I wish I bring my gavels to these meetings. It's in the other room in the court, and I think they're using it. This is for an executive discussion. and
Financial discussions are not for executive.
Excuse me.
Let her speak.
This is not personnel.
Excuse me. Who are you asking?
Let
to-
her speak.
I'm supposed to let her speak.
Maureen,
Thank
Maureen,
you. Thank
let
you,
her,
Sal.
no, not you.
I'm sorry, I still haven't
You were on
given
the
my
other end
rebuttal.
for years. Let her speak.
Okay, sure.
Let her speak.
She asked for an HR department. She asked for an RFP.
She made a motion, it was seconded,
And
let's vote on
I
it.
made a discussion.
Let's
and
vote
I
on it.
still have, no, Sal, be quiet now, please. Excuse me. Please have order. I will call the village police and I will enforce order
Call 'em.
here. I will.
Go ahead, call him.
Are we, okay.
Call him right now. We're gonna vote on it.
Ladies and gentlemen, can we have some order? We're here for water district, for the water district.
You could simply call it a question and we could move forward.
Or
Correct.
we could hear what one board member actually has to say in response to the question. If you'd like to be educated on the process,
Can we have
on
quiet
what
in the audience, please?
day-to-day is, I'm going to call a 5-minute recess. Thank you.
about to vote. Want to go, Tom?
Me? Yeah. I'm good. I'm good. No, it's not. I'm gonna speak when I want. Bullshit. Yes, I will. Bullshit. I don't care. I'll speak when I want.
Well, I have to do the public hearing tonight, but if you could speak to him, like I said, I just complained about him. He's going to continue. We did.
I am not no part of this shit. But I'm sticking to it. I gotta shut up.
it's nice you walk around town, you know, you go sit up on the beach, then when you're bored, go walk.
All right, I'm going to call this meeting to order, 7/23/2026 at 7:39 p.m. We did, in fact, have to call the village police, and this has been an ongoing problem with disruptors from the audience as well as from the dais. We will be investigating this as it moves forward and try to remedy this for the taxpayers to be able to get through town business. I apologize to the full-time staff and the consultants who have put in several complaints about this, and they're not compensated for the time that they sit here, the full-time staff, especially those who are not elected, and we will be having to find a way to make that up to them on their time cards. So I would, again, I would like to yield the floor now to Matt to give his legal advice for the record on what we've been discussing in the recess.
Yes,
You can go
it's
ahead.
the opinion of the town attorneys, town council, that it would not be prudent to pass a motion for an RFP tonight, not having the proper scope of what will be encompassed by the RFP before the board for discussion. However, if you have a motion before the board and you have a majority vote for that motion, so be it. We will deal with the RFP, the scope of the RFP, subsequent to any approval of that motion.
I can adjust the motion based on your advice.
Propose.
I move that the town board authorize the issuance of a request for proposals, also known as an RFP, for an independent human resources consulting firm conducting themselves under the same scope as the previous HR consulting firm with the town of Monroe. The town of attorney is directed to prepare the RFP no later than August 23rd, 2026, and upon completion, the town clerk is authorized and directed to distribute and advertise the RFP in accordance with the town's procurement policy and applicable law.
Board, if you know what the prior scope is, please have a discussion on that. I personally don't know what the prior scope of the prior
So,
engagement was.
I'll
so-
take that question. Thank you, Matt. It was public sector HR, and they decided that they did not want to continue from the very onset. We had tried to continue on with them, and we had this conversation with Darius. Darius actually knows the principal over at public sector. They didn't want to continue on, and then we realized the amount of cost savings. It was a very limited contract where they would basically just do our onboarding paperwork, and it was literally an accessory to the supervisor's office. I'm not sure if you're familiar with public HR, to put that comment
I'm not.
out. Darius is obviously not here. And Darius made several recommendations for individuals who might do the same work. However, we hired Stephen Mahano as secretary to the supervisor. The previous arrangement was that the secretary to the supervisor was the liaison to HR. Obviously, the supervisor remains the CPO, CFO, CEO, whatever, as one elected figure. And the secretary to the supervisor can be sort of designated as liaison to the HR, doing onboarding, and then she used that, and so would Stephen, again, as an accessory to that. When we're hiring, when there are complaints, when there are issues, it's a consulting company. They rewrite our town handbook, all of that. We had all of these discussions in the beginning of the year when we were attempting to cut costs, see what redundancies there were. Stephen Mahano worked for Recap and Middletown, and went to school for this. So that was one section. I also went to school for it, and we have a labor attorney through Josh. We don't really need a lot of what they were offering, which was mostly handbook updates and rewrites. So I have no problem with having the exact same service. And again, we literally reached out as early as, or as recently as last month to someone who Darius recommended for this. But we've been seeing a huge amount of cost savings, and every one of our labor matters has been handled by Josh at an hourly rate. For the audience, Josh is our labor attorney through Harris Beach, Murtha.
Josh Steele.
Yes, thank you. So I would just recommend against spending the money because, again, I can take this into executive and I feel it's more pertinent. I don't feel that we launched inappropriate notice to the public, but again, I don't really mind having an exact duplicate to public sector HR.
I'll second the motion as amended.
I'm sorry, I didn't really hear the details of the motion. It's not in front of me to vote on it. Can you just read it again?
I move that the town board authorize the issuance of a request for proposals, also known as an RFP, for an independent human resources consulting firm to conduct services within the same scope as previous HR firms for the town of Monroe. The town attorney is directed to prepare the RFP no later than August 23rd, 2026, and upon completion, the town clerk is authorized and directed to distribute and advertise the RFP in accordance with the town's procurement policy and applicable law.
That is fine. There's a second by Bingham.
One
All right, call the
second.
question.
Rivera, nay.
Bingham, aye.
And Richardson, nay.
Stevens, aye.
Scancarello, aye.
So moved.
I have
Okay,
another motion from the floor.
Thank you. I will not be recognizing any more motions from the floor.
It is my right as
No,
a
it's
sitting
not.
board member.
It's not, actually.
We are still
I'm
in
going
new
to call-
business.
Excuse me. We are going to continue with the meeting as per the agenda tonight. I am the chair of the meeting. You can check Robert's rules.
It is in Robert's rules.
Please, we are moving on.
I'm not gonna
I am
be
making a
intimidated
motion
by
to
your
open the
gavel.
public hearing
It is my
regarding
right
Water
as a
District
sitting
Number
board
2
member
in
to bring
relation
motions
to
from
the
the floor.
increase and improvement of facilities
Maureen,
improvement
let her
district.
speak.
I am not recognizing any more motions from the floor.
You made 200 motions every meeting we had.
And I
Let her
waited till the
speak.
end of business to do
It's
it.
appropriate to do
I
it
did.
in
Right
new
now,
business.
you better do it. Let her speak.
Guys, we literally asked anyone if they had any needs for this meeting 300 times. We wanted to get in and out of here. There are people who have to leave
I
and go
agree.
other places.
So let's just be
You
civil.
were never in a rush.
Maureen, let her
Fine,
speak.
go
Let
ahead.
her speak.
Let's make more motions.
I move that the town board affirm that all members of the town board and all department heads are authorized to communicate directly with the town's consultants, professional service providers, vendors, and governmental agencies for the purpose of obtaining information necessary to fulfill their official responsibilities. No town policy or directive shall prohibit or restrict such communications, provided that no individual board member or department head may direct, authorize expenditures, amend contracts, or otherwise bind the town without proper legal authority.
I'll second.
I'm going to call discussion and say that the one sentence in there is very important, that no one's authorized to make expenditures.
I agree. I
Yeah.
really looked at this.
Excuse me, thank you. I'm agreeing with you, and we've already discussed this, that there is no prohibition on just normal communications. The one sentence in there is that we do have paid consultants, and we actually just had an issue where board members are cross-communicating to the exact same paid consultant, and we're being double billed, and it's not reaching where it needs to go. So those paid consultants, there has to remain a policy in place, and my office has to be aware of the paid consultants because we're getting billed for services that are undirected. And the supervisor's office has assigned liaisons, committees, everything like that. That is within the lawful scope of the supervisor's position, and we need to create a flow of communication and policy so that we're all on the same page and not getting double billed. No one is stopping anyone from talking to retained services at the moment at all. All the department's heads are already using all the retained services, and everyone has to go through the normal process for authorization for the engineer and any hourly, who else? The engineer and the planner, they're all hourly.
I'd like to know who got double billed, because I do sign the vouchers, and I don't remember seeing anything about a double billing. Was it
Max-
engineering?
Both. It was both. That's why Louis and I were talking about the fact that there needs to be an organized policy, and there already is. As Beth said, a councilperson cannot unilaterally use a paid service. I have no problem with the rest of the motion. None. I agree with it. It's already the policy in place.
You have a second, so
Now, you seconded. All right. Call the question.
Rivera, nay.
Bingham, aye.
I agree with it. I'm confused. Everyone's on the same page that we can't call the planner and the engineers who are paid hourly. That's not in the motion.
I'd like to complete the motion.
Now I'm asking because this was from the floor, I'm confirming that this motion does not include allowing unfettered access to paid hourly consultants. The phrasing,
It would have multiple members of the board consult, speak with a consultant to do double work or different tasks that don't go with one another.
But couldn't the consultant say, this question has already been asked, please defer to my supervisor, my planning board chair? I have no idea if another council person or department head has spoken to an engineer.
That's
I
why we
really
have the
don't have an
policy.
idea. And I think it's prudent for that vendor, that consultant, then to say, I've already answered this question, please talk to so-and-so. It's a 2-minute conversation.
it's
Why-
not, it's an hour each time, it's
Not
an hour.
if they say, I already answered this question, please speak to so-and-so who I already answered the question to.
When a town board member calls a paid consultant under, hi, it's council person X, it puts that consultant in a very precarious position where they want to be helpful to a client. I've already discussed this with several consultants on the receiving end of this when we were enforcing it on retained services, which was completely inappropriate. I don't know. It is just something that you're asking them to keep track of, is the response, and it's not technically allowed by town law, so I don't think that any policy that we pass or has can supersede the fact that council members can't use paid services or authorize unilateral charges, because it's not in town law.
All the board members are permitted to speak with consultants, right?
Yeah.
You just want to try to avoid unnecessary expenditures in your communications with those.
Why this is coming up is the previous administration passed an extremely prohibitive policy to inflict on me and Mary, and he voted yes, and now they're pretending that this is a policy that I have or that I have ever enforced, which is not true.
Excuse me, but I think
Excuse
the
me.
consultants are still under that presumption that that policy still exists.
No,
It was-
they're not.
It was
No, they
never
are.
rescinded.
No, they are not.
They
And
are.
Millennium
No,
was a
they
prime
are
example.
not. That's something that me and Dave discussed at the New York Association of Towns months ago, and I've already expressed, and we can call Dave on the phone.
It would just be easier to pass the motion.
I guess so. I'm just trying to say that I would like an agreement from the board that they're not going to be calling paid consultants without putting it somewhere on a public, I've spoken to X for this amount of hours, or may I speak to X for this amount of hours? That's all I'm asking. We need to coordinate paid consultants. And you're not willing to. This is the heck. That's insane. I'm going to vote no.
Stevens, aye.
Scancarello, aye.
I have another motion from the floor. I move that the town board establish the following policy regarding electronic communications of elected officials. Resolved that no elected official, employee, contractor, consultant, or agent of the town shall have administrative access to, monitor, access, or otherwise view the email account or electronic communications of another elected official without the express written consent of that elected official, or is otherwise required by law, court order, or a duly authorized forensic or information technology investigation authorized by the town. Be it further resolved that any administrative access required for the maintenance, security, backup, or operation of the town's email system shall be limited to designated information technology personnel or authorized third-party information technology providers, acting solely within the scope of their technical duties and subject to appropriate confidentiality requirements. Be it further resolved that no elected official, including the town supervisor, shall be granted administrative credentials, passwords, delegated mailbox access, or any other means of accessing another elected official's email account unless specifically authorized by resolution of the town board or otherwise required by law. Be it further resolved that the town clerk shall, within 5 business days of the adoption of this resolution, provide a certified copy of this resolution to the town's information technology provider and any town employee or contractor responsible for the administration of the town's email system. Be it further resolved that the town's information technology provider shall within 10 business days of receiving this resolution, verify compliance with this policy, revoke any unauthorized administrative or delegated access to elected officials' email accounts, and provide written confirmation of such compliance simultaneously to the town clerk and each member of the town board.
I'll second.
Discussion. I would love if we could also make a motion from the floor to stop posting unsubstantiated accusations that you're being reviewed, monitored, censored, and abused, when in reality you were duly investigated in the course of an HR investigation that was headed by our legal team and requested by our legal team. And this motion, this motion includes basic fundamental impossibilities, including assigning IT, and I don't have it in front of me to even review, including assigning IT to duties that they legally don't have authority over, don't want authority over, issue intentionally out of respect to the actual authority of this office and our need to perform our HR and people management, including that these accounts are public, including that the town of Monroe owns these accounts, and also that they are subject to FOIL at any time. So the basic logic of the motion is not foundational or legal in its implementation.
It's legal.
And, excuse me, it's not.
So
It's actually not. And I'm still in the middle of the discussion that I called. It's not, and we don't have somebody who is assigned this duty when we do need to source from IT. Again, what you've outlined as the duty of IT, I've been on the phone in regards to your complaints, and we're trying to launch an investigation to substantiate that you made a false allegation, including
I did
pulling
not
back-
make a false allegation.
You did. You said that your emails are being deleted from residents and you're being censored. We reviewed.
Maureen, I would be careful with what you continue to talk about because there's an
I-
ongoing investigation.
Because
There's an
it was
ongoing
also involving me, and I will say that I was very upset to hear about it.
That
and
you were reviewed because two council members were accused by a credible employee that she was told to come to work despite being put on paid administrative leave. If we took that action as insubordination,
And you
and
should have,
chose
then
to
you
make
should
a
have
personnel
foiled my
decision-
email instead of gaining access to my email.
this was literally requested by the town attorney, by the labor attorney, and suggested as the only mechanism to review by IT.
And
If you
nobody,
call
nobody
John
asked
McDonald,
me for any.
no one is going to ask you. We have the right as the owners and administrators of this account as HR to perform what actions using town property to review whether it's trust but verify. That's what Darius said.
And this is a new policy. There's a big difference between FOIL and direct mailbox
And
access.
there is someone in every single town, in every single state, county, everywhere that has direct administrative
New Windsor
access.
IT made it very clear to me that your request was the first one they'd heard of that
is
kind in
not
40
true
years.
at all. John is the one who suggested it. If we can easily get a letter from John McDonald offering this when we spoke to him. In fact, he thought it was so normal that he policed inboxes permanently after the request in mind.
So this is the new policy that I'm proposing.
It
Let's
has
vote on it. It was
defects in
seconded.
legality.
Let's vote on it.
It has defects
vote.
in legality.
I don't think so. Let's vote.
Anything you guys vote on has to be legally implemented, so you can vote on
got a
whichever
second.
way you want. I don't know if you want to place legal advice on the record.
I haven't even had a chance to review the resolution. I heard it, but, you know, it's a very long resolution with a lot of implications in it, requires research and analysis. If the board's going to move on this and vote on it, it seems like
You just want to protect our email.
It's not going to be
this is
legally
for
implementable.
this is for public email
Yes,
addresses.
and there's a difference between a lawyer requesting my emails, which I've provided in the past, and there being a drop-down inbox where my emails are being deleted from our supervisor's laptop. It's a very big difference.
So under your resolution, if the town attorney's office required to review an elected official's emails, they could do that?
Yes, you would go through IT.
No, they can't, because in speaking with IT, this was literally the only way that they had to do it. In fact, I did not want access permanently in my hub. In fact, I was unaware of it because I have 2 versions of Outlook. And one of them has, as she described, you can do a combined inbox and inherit sort of simultaneously shared use. But I use a different web browser that only has mine. So I'm only going on to the version that John updated like every once in a while when I have to scoop out an old domain from the prior administration. So we said in the beginning, John, actually, I'll be very honest and frank, we had allegations of digital media abuse, that there were allegations of pornography by a former employee, a use on a town computer. We spoke to John in the transition, what can we do, how do we investigate this? And in that discussion, in that scope, and in my taking my role, this was what he proposed immediately. When you become supervisor, this is going to be a lot easier. I provide this to every supervisor. If you ever need to get into an inbox, this is what we'll do. This is how we do it in other towns. The allegations at hand are categorically false. We went in for specific purposes. We were called a specific breach of security from the finance department, and she's expanding it to allege that we are like monitoring her, censoring her, and deleting emails beyond what was intentionally scoped by IT. So it doesn't, again, they can make any motion they want, but at the end of the day, it has to be legally implementable. You can't restrict the people officer of the town from having administrative access, and there wouldn't be a way for anyone on the legal team to be designated as such. You don't, it would be identical.
Can we have a little quiet in the audience,
Agile.
please?
Yes, please.
We have quiet in the audience, please.
We spoke with Agile IT in the wake of this controversy because we were frustrated with the mechanism, because I didn't want permanent access. I wanted to be able to have some kind of back access, like an admin login that can go into anyone at any time. When we log in, it would be logged in a system, right? You would know when you logged into this mainframe account. It shouldn't be part of my inbox, especially when I'm not even aware of it. I have no idea if that shared my inbox. I don't know. It just was disturbing. And then Agile IT, they're out of our price range for switching over, and I'm sure everyone has seen on Mid-Hudson the scandal with New Windsor IT and doing things not necessarily up to par. So this has been a concern because, again, John McDonald said this is literally the only way to do this. So unless we, again, designate a domain for the HR and have, like, it would be identical. There's no other way, unless we hire another IT company that hosts an update to the licenses that we don't have the commercial business products of Word at the town of Monroe. We have individual licenses instead of company shared systemic data. So because we haven't purchased this town-wide software encompassing multiple users, we don't have that capability that one would expect. So we have like old licenses of Outlook that IT has given us. We have old licenses of Word from like 2017 that they've given us. They don't perform in a commercial sense. Please, if everyone could just keep it down. So again, this was the only way, and we talked to him before this. He recommended this. He asserted this is what everyone is doing. We spoke to him and requested the email access when it occurred. He knew what it was for. He granted that. And then we spoke to him after these allegations came up to conduct an investigation on that. So we are currently, well, the talks have been stalled since the news with New Windsor IT. They haven't been reachable. So we were considering switching to Agile because they did promise certain software package updates, but it's just priced out of our, to implement a new, more professionally streamed IT where this is addressed in a more professional, traditional HR setting, it's going to be like $90,000 versus $45,000. So we just invited Agile to speak to us about this week. And we're trying to find other solutions because this was unacceptable overall, the unprofessional nature of it, the fact that there have been allegations that we asked New Windsor to prove are unsubstantiated. Maybe we'll ask him for a memo about the whole process because she's sitting here now representing that this is the first request that they've ever seen in 40 years. It's not true. We spoke to Steve Bedetti, the supervisor, afterwards as well. No one on that team said that. They all said that this is typical and that they've had this request multiple times because people have to go into, obviously, employees' emails that they don't own. They're not private accounts. This is something that is in the handbook. It's informed. It's in every company. Don't use your email to do something that you wouldn't want your HR or attorney to see.
I just don't want them deleted.
They're not. Great news. Solved. You can pass your motion, but again, every motion that we pass here has to be legally implementable. I just want to say that your complaints and the foundational, upset surrounding them are in the process of trying to be resolved as we've had these communications, and it's easy to prove from the conversations I've had.
Before I vote, so Beth, specifically, just tell me what it is that you want this resolution. What is your objective with this resolution?
There should be no direct access to any public elected official's email by the town supervisor. It's pretty much that simple.
She just doesn't like to be managed, and the fact that she doesn't like that I'm the HR officer and
She's
that
one
she was
vote
under
on the board,
investigation.
just as you used to say. She's
That's
one
not
vote
true
and
at
you're
all.
one vote.
I have executive authorities that supersede the board, and I'm the full-time administrator.
Let's vote.
I'm not just one vote on the board. It's the truth.
So
I'm the CFO, I'm the CEO,
I'll be honest
I'm
with
the
you.
CPO.
I don't feel comfortable with people looking at my emails if I'm communicating with, with people, constituents. I feel a little uncomfortable about that, but I understand your point of view.
I'm not looking at your email. Otherwise, I'm
No, it was.
yeah,
it was
deleting them.
Yes.
So,
Two council
yes, I would say I would not be a part of that, but in a corporate setting, like let's say, for example, if you worked for Pepsi-Cola and you had an email at Pepsi-Cola, Louis Rivera at PepsiCola.com, and they can have access to your email.
But we're not Pepsi-Cola, we're public elected officials. It's
We
different.
are the town of Monroe, which is even more open and more subject to review by the executives. That's the point. It's a public fidelity. You were accused of making a directive to an employee. We requested access for the investigation. The attorney and others cleared you of that investigation. The issue remains with IT. I agree with that. I felt uncomfortable seeing that I still had access to that. However, we called IT, not even knowing that we still had access to that, to recall an email that you'd received with unredacted financial that contained passwords and other things. And then we removed it from the email. We didn't remove other whatever. That's it. And
We
that's
vote
all.
on the motion?
Like I said, you can
Let's
make
vote.
the motion as much as you want. It's not going to be legally implementable. It's not practicable, and you can't assign IT labor that they're unwilling to do. Okay, that's all. Call the question.
Rivera, aye.
Bingham, aye. Excuse me.
I'm just going to say Richardson, nay, because no one is going to be able to have administrative access, and there has to be administrative access. I wouldn't want to be the one that's being blamed for this, but I am. Unfortunately, this is the way the world works when there are complaints.
Stevens, aye.
Scancarello, aye.
So moved.
I have one more motion. It is the last one. I move that the town board establish a standing public safety advisory committee for the purpose of evaluating the public safety needs of the town of Monroe and making recommendations to the town board regarding strategies to enhance the safety and well-being of its residents. Be it further resolved that the committee shall review and evaluate matters affecting public safety, including but not limited to reported crime trends, traffic violations, motor vehicle accidents, emergency response services, policing needs, community safety concerns, and any other factors relevant to the evaluation of the town's public safety needs. Be it further resolved that the committee is authorized to gather information, review available public records and data, consult with municipal, county, state, and federal agencies, meet with public safety professionals, and solicit input from residents and other stakeholders to assist in its evaluation. Be it further resolved that the committee shall identify and recommend one or more qualified consulting firms capable of conducting an independent public safety and police feasibility study, evaluating the town's current public safety resources, future service needs, organizational alternatives, anticipated costs, implementation considerations, and any other factors necessary to provide the town board with objective recommendations for advancing public safety. Be it further resolved that the committee shall present its findings and recommendations to the town board, including recommendations regarding the issuance of a request for proposals RFP for an independent public safety and police feasibility study. Any decision to issue an RFP, retain a consultant, appropriate funds, establish or expand police services, or implement any recommendation shall remain solely within the authority of the town board and shall require subsequent approval by majority vote. Be it further resolved that the committee shall consist of no fewer than 6 members, with additional members as determined by the town board. All members shall be appointed by majority vote of the town board and should collectively possess experience, knowledge, or demonstrated interest in public safety, emergency services, municipal government, transportation, law, planning, or related fields. Be it further resolved that upon completion of its review, the committee shall submit a written report to the town board, setting forth its findings, conclusions, and recommendations, including any recommendation regarding the issuance of a request for proposals for an independent public safety and police feasibility study. All meetings, records, and recommendations of the committee shall be conducted in accordance with applicable provisions of New York law. Be it further resolved that the committee shall serve in an advisory capacity only and shall possess no authority to expend town funds, enter into contracts, direct town employees, or otherwise bind the town of Monroe.
Second for discussion. I agree with the premise of the committee for public safety. However, there are a couple of stipulations, like in all of these, that are not complying with town board law, which is why we've asked that these be run by us so that we can have a finalized product in front of everyone, because again, they're very long and they do contain some clauses that aren't like municipally legally appropriate. Like the majority and the concept of having a committee for public safety in the town is good, but I believe that you contradicted yourself, and I can't see it, where at first you say that they're authorized to put out an RFP, but then later you say that they aren't authorized to pursue funding, all of those things.
There's nowhere in there where it authorizes them to put out an RFP. It's that they can recommend one or more firms to conduct that RFP.
Okay. Yes, that's fine. Again, there's laws surrounding committee appointments. The supervisor is automatically a committee member who's assigned to committees. I would have to look up that it's solely appointed by board majority. I think that disrupts municipal law for how the supervisor can appoint liaisons and committee members. So
We always vote on our committee members as a board.
no, we don't. The supervisor can unilaterally appoint committees, and liaisons are committee of one.
Monroe Conservation Committee, we always approve them.
You're conflating liaison and committee.
Liaison is a committee of one, Beth. It's by law, liaison is a committee of one. So the Monroe, they're a conservation commission. You're confusing committee with commission. A commission is an independent board and body, such as this, which they're an appointed position, which contain the ability to vote. And they are not elected officials, but officials that sign the book.
Well, this motion is written for committee members to be approved by board majority.
like I said, I agree with the motion overall. I just think that the details of the motion violate basic municipal tenets, and I would have been happy to edit this and discuss this. But again, I agree with the aspect that we need a committee for safety. Also, 6 seems kind of unruly, and we are making progress already with identifying some of these things, but we're happy to have help in identifying and remitting public safety issues, so that's all. Anyone else?
No, it's public safety. I'm all for it. So let's take a vote.
All right, call the question.
Rivera, aye.
Bingham, aye.
Richardson, aye.
Stevens, aye.
Scancarello, aye.
I'd really like to move on with the actual business of the meeting because I do have prior obligations. So we're at 5.1, right, Matt? Are we? I'm sorry. All right, so I'm making the motion to open the public hearing for Water District Number 2 in relation to the increase and improvement of facilities. So be it resolved that the Town Board of the Town of Monroe made a motion to open the public hearing regarding Water District Number 2 in relation to the increase and improvement of facilities. Need a second.
Bingham will second.
Call the question.
Rivera, aye.
Bingham, aye.
Richardson, aye.
Stevens, aye.
Scancarello, aye.
Okay, our first speaker, right?
Yep, sorry, go ahead.
First speaker is John O'Brien. You have 5 minutes to speak. Please come up to the mic. Please don't touch the mic. Thank
Please
you.
recall that all public comment regarding the public hearing, you will have 5 minutes. It will go into the permanent record, and it should remain focused on the matter on the agenda.
Hey, I just have one question. I received this notice for the hearing this evening, and I see that the town's reaching out to the state for funding and other sources. I just want to know for sure if someone from this town has contacted the federal government with regard to possible funding through the infrastructure bill that was passed by Congress years ago.
So, sir, how it typically works is that this is an open public hearing. Your comments will go into the record, and I can respond to all of your questions at the end. So you can proceed, ask all of your questions. That's all you had?
That's all I have.
Okay. Thank you so much.
There's no more public comment.
Okay. So yes, we actually applied for congressionally directed spending applications through Congressman Ryan's office, and we have unfortunately been denied twice in a row, including this year, for that application. Actually, for Water District Number 2, how it works, and I just realized I conflated 2 districts, I apologize. We chose and prioritized 1 project per year because that is how that directed spending at the federal level works. We're not actually able to receive or apply for more than 1 major grant award through the federal government, through our congressman. And your district, as bad as it might be, is not nearly as bad as the repairs needed in Water District Number 14. So from a town's perspective and administrative perspective, we coordinated and applied for Water District Number 14, and we cannot submit any other applications. So for this district, no, we did not seek federal funding for Water District Number 2. Anyone else from Water District Number 2 who might have accidentally not signed up to speak and who would like to come up to speak before we proceed? Okay. The next is just closing it, right? Yes. Thank you. Okay, so I will make the motion to close the public hearing regarding Water District Number 2 in relation to the increase and improvement of facilities.
Rivera, second.
Call the question.
Rivera, aye.
Bingham, aye.
Richardson, aye.
Stevens, aye.
Scancarello, aye.
So moved. Okay, we'll make the motion to open the public hearing regarding Water District Number 14 in relation to the increase and improvement of facilities.
I'll second that motion.
Call the question.
Rivera, aye.
Bingham, aye.
Richardson, aye.
Stevens, aye.
Scancarello, aye.
Okay, the first speaker is Mary Ann Wickman, followed by Jeff Indike. You have 5 minutes to speak. Please don't touch the mic. Thank you.
Sorry,
Sit
before we
down if you'd like.
Yes, you can sit there if you'd like, that's easier. Before we proceed, Barb, were there written comments? There were written comments.
Mary Ann emailed and I emailed.
Would you like yours read out?
Yes, please.
Okay.
Oh, well, you can read it at the end.
After,
That's
yes,
fine.
and then with none for Water District number 2, right?
No.
Okay, thank you.
Mary Ann Wickman.
Good evening.
Good
How are
evening.
you?
Thank you for responding to my email. Just a couple questions with ours. Any idea how much this would cost the homeowner for this update for the $4 million? $4 million,
Per household, I'm not entirely sure. I just know that there are 60 parcels, and I'm sorry, I'm just answering because there's only 2 people signed up to speak, correct? Or-
Oh, no, Water District 14, you have 9 speakers.
Oh, I'm so sorry. I will take notes, and I violated my own rule. I'm so sorry. So how much would it cost, correct? And then you can proceed.
Continue with your questions.
My next question is, have you looked into any other resources for, I've lived there for 53 years. We're, of course, retired. I don't want to move, but if this is what it's going to take, then we will have to move. We won't be able to afford to stay there. Is there other resources that you can look into for us, for folks that are there? At one time, we were, I'd say 16, 17 years ago, we could have been qualified as a low economic community because it was a summer community turned around to a year-round. The water system is very, very bad, so it needs to be worked on. My next question is, one time, about 3 years ago, we were supposed to have generators, which our generator that I worked on went to number 1. That's not when you were supervisor, because I had an argument with the other supervisor. The people that have wells on their property, will they be included in this cost?
She'll answer all.
I'm sorry, yeah, I'm prepared.
That's all
I'm
right.
just going to answer
Yeah.
at the end. Would you mind, though, repeating the generator question? Did you say that your funding went elsewhere?
Well, we didn't do any funding, but I had worked on the committee to try and get generators because I live next door to the water system. When the water stops, I mean, we're out. You know, and it can be for the whole day with all the problems that we had last year. So, but a couple of years ago, we worked on a committee to see if we could get generators for the system. And our generator, I think the state gave us 2 or whatever. The one generator was supposed to come to us, but somebody decided that it should go to district number 1. And I had a very large discussion with the supervisor at that point. The other question I have is, I pay taxes to the village of Monroe. So there's quite a few people in our community that live in the village as well as the town. Can we request that we get some help? Since I've been there for 53 years and been paying taxes, because we receive no other help from the village of Monroe. And I just don't think that that's fair. And that's it. My last
Thank
question.
you so much for your questions. If I can't answer them all tonight, I will definitely email.
Well, thank you very much for answering my
Thank you.
email. And thank you for hoping this project gets going because it's been a long time.
I'm so sorry that it's so expensive, I really am.
Okay, the next speaker is Jeff Indike, followed by Phil Hackett. You'll have 5 minutes to speak. Please don't touch the mic.
Thank you.
You can sit or you can stand, whatever your preference is.
It's all good.
Good evening, just please state your name. This is the official record for the Water District number 14 hearing.
Okay, thank you. I've been here in Monroe since 1963, and I've watched everything that's gone on ever since the inception of this problem, since 2012 and 13, where our community has had problems with the water after it broke down and Zadov sold and the town took over. So we had a proposal in I think 13 about a $1.8 million bond, I believe. And then when they did their study, they said based on the incomes of the people in the community, it would not be able to be afforded. Now we have a $4.3 million bond, which is about 13 years later. Most of the people still live there, and those who have come in, we still don't have a community that is probably, if we take the cost of living, that can afford a $4.3 million bond. I don't know, at that point, there was brought to my attention that there would be those who needed water would have a user cost, and those who were non-users would have a different cost. That's what I was reading in the paperwork to review the history for those who don't know the history of this problem. The town never solved it. Many of us dropped our own wells in at the cost of about $8,000 a well. In today's cost, if we factor in the current cost, would be about $20,000 a well at most. That would be, and there's 85 or 86 homes in this, that would be $1.7 million if I do my math, not $4.3 million on a bond, which would be a much more affordable solution to every single house in Water District 14's problem. So I have two things. One, is there a way that for those families who can't afford that, to somehow create a way of having a bond or a fund that could have them build wells in addition, so they don't have to be after the municipal wanted to fix this district with the piping and the well, have a water meter attached to their usage. So now they're going to pay more money for their usage in addition to in addition to each home having to pay back this bond. We just got a tax bill this year for $2,409 on a $200,000 repair, if I'm not mistaken, and I think this is, Travis was telling me about this. And so with that said, I own 8 properties. One of my properties doesn't have a house, and I still got a $2,400 bill on top of a property that is an empty lot to this water district. It seems like there's a lot of inequities here. Many of the homes, and I propose we take account on how many homes have wells. It would be a cheaper solution and not be so burdensome. And then when some of these families want to sell their homes, just like you have a mortgage, you pay off your mortgage. In this case, they pay off their well bill if they don't have the money before they sell their homes. So at least they can live in their homes today and currently. So these are my proposals, because I don't understand how this bond, which is 75% higher than the cost of digging wells for those homes that don't have them yet, would be affordable. It's going to tear the community apart even further. Any comments? Anybody back there who wants to add points? If I missed it, and I know I drew together a lot of our neighbors, to please come and comment upon what I have just proposed, or tell me what you think, so that at least our town board can understand our concerns.
Do you mind just circling back and sharpening the fine point? I heard all of the buildup, but I want to just be clear on what the request is regarding the individual wells, if you could just clarify.
I'm saying that the proposal of putting a well in, even at maximum, would be $20,000, because I know the people who dug our wells, and I know them very well. It was a little bit of a pun, but it would be cheaper for 85 homes. If we had no homes, I think maybe 86 homes, would be cheaper, if you do the math, of $1.7 million than 4.3 million, and they wouldn't have to be metered. They can use as much or as little water as they want. So that's my point.
You're proposing that every home drill an individual
Every home in
well.
that community in District 14 could build a well for cheaper than your bond, the bond that they want to have put in here. I proposed this 13 years ago with Bunny Brown, who's moved out of the community. I bought her house. Bottom line is that's not the point. Also, there's private roads in that district, and there is public roads in that district. All my houses are on the private road. All my houses have wells. All my neighbors are people who are, we don't need this extra expense. This would help raise the cost of their existence there too. That was my 5 minutes, wasn't it? Okay.
That
well,
was
Yes,
your
if you
5
just have
minutes.
like 2 more sentences you want to say, that's completely fine, but that is time.
I think I made the point clear, unless somebody can add to it. I think this is a very expensive bill, and I want to know how we're going to be able to afford it if it goes through, what this means to the increase of my taxes further, which is already out there. It's very, very expensive. And if I'm complaining about expenses and I can borderline afford this at this point, what's going to happen to those neighbors who can't?
Okay, thank you so much, gentlemen.
Do I go back?
Yes, we just answer everyone's bulk questions at the end. That's just the procedure. So we're
Thank you
going to
for
let
giving me
your
the time.
neighbors give public comment. Thank you so much.
Next speaker is Phil Hackett, followed by Travis Gripper.
Yeah, I just have a quick
And
question.
I'm sorry, can you please state your name?
I'm sorry, Phil Hackett,
Good evening.
District 14. I don't understand how years ago the county and the state determined that our demographic, our median income could not support a $2 million bond, and yet somehow we can support a $4 million plus bond. There seems to be something not kosher here.
I'm sorry, just have to answer
How does
everyone
that
again.
get justified? How do we justify double a large bond of $4 million where years ago $2 million was too much for our neighborhood and it hasn't really changed? And if you do get, and if you are going to be applying for funds from the government, what happens if those funds never come through? Does this district still get created, and do we still get hit with a $4 million plus bond? No? No, in other words, I guess what I'm asking is what happens if you don't get the money to do this? Does the project go through?
I'm happy to answer that. Thank you so much. Is that all that you had?
That's pretty much
Okay,
it,
thank
yeah.
you so much.
Thank you. The next speaker is Travis Gripper, followed by John O'Connor. Please come up, state your name. You have 5 minutes.
Thank you. I was just up with Jeffrey Indyke. My name's Travis Cripper. But I did have 2 other questions. Can we get a total of how many homes need wells, how many homes have wells?
How many are publicly serviced and
Yeah.
how many have private wells?
And then in terms of the taxes that have been paid over the last couple of years, particularly last year, I'd like to know if any of those funds have been allocated toward the highway department repairs on that road, specifically.
The road versus the water?
Correct, because you need to repair the roads after you fix the issues. And are those taxes going toward, and I'm not talking about the property taxes, I'm talking about specifically the water bill tax. Is that going toward
Is any portion of your water bill in your special district, has any special district tax funds been used to
Allocated to-
pay the highway
Correct,
department to
correct.
repair the roads because repairs have cut into the roads?
That's correct,
Okay.
yes. Yeah. And that would be the only 2 questions.
Thank you.
Thank you.
I believe John O'Connor left. So I have Blas Cordero, followed by Luis Castro Giovanni. So after Blas, you have Luis Castro Giovanni. Is he here? Okay. Followed by Gilbert Cousins. Okay, and then followed by Barbara M.
Good evening, please state your name.
My name is Barbara Mich. I'm living in 420 Hillside Road, District 14. I'm living over there since 1998. And I understand we need to fix it because this is bad. I understand, but I'm worried about the financing, the money, because everything is expensive. And, I don't want to get the bill from the town, then I'm going to have a problem to pay. That I want to know the town, how the town is going to solve this. And that's it. That's all my question.
Thank you so much.
Thank you.
And that's all for public comment.
Okay, thank you so much, everybody. Yes, so tonight's proceedings and the normal step of the town board meetings this month were specifically altered to chase these grants aggressively at a state level. Unfortunately, the track record for Water District 14 has been one where we have not seen any state or federal assistance despite applying aggressively in former years. So I do want to say, collective, I'm very sorry that your district has experienced decades worth of service disruptions, problems, that this is a multi-administration issue where multiple solutions were attempted, tried, proposed. Many were not pursued. It looks like capital savings for this district where money was squirreled away, strategically taxed over time to lessen the all-in-one impact of the inevitable breakdown, which we have seen, the leaks, the supply issues that your district is seeing where the pipes are basically held together. We lovingly refer to it as held together by chewing gum and paper clips over down at the water department and the highway department. Our clerk, our deputy clerk, Barbara, makes some jokes that when she sees the water district department employee in her neighborhood, she knows her tax bill is going to go up. So we have a vested interest as, people trying to service our constituents and obviously some who are personally affected by this issue. And as I stated earlier on in the night, we have prioritized this district repeatedly because of the grand cost being so high at $4 million. And that is because your district basically requires an entirely new ductile iron supply system. So you don't have a water quality issue. There are no contaminants in the water, but you do have complete corrosion, breakdown, and other issues with the infrastructure. Unfortunately, that does not make an appealing project for WIA for several reasons. One being, again, that they do prioritize demographics. We're not, unfortunately, your district, your special district is not competitive when it comes to, average salary is factored in, need is scored using something that they call the intended use plan. So when we score your district, it's done at a universal state level measured, and basically when you get into a competitive grant pool alongside Newburgh, Middletown, and other districts that have better, higher need scores, including demographics, we are not very competitive at all. Plus the fact that it is infrastructure-based rather than quality, which is what the WIA grants are really geared toward, is quality. We want to make sure there's not chemicals or contaminants in the water supply, and that is the state's priority. Again, this has been the board's priority, like I said, over multiple administrations. There's clearly not an easy fix to this problem. That is not what we are here to tell you. What I can tell you is that I'm doing everything that I can. We submitted a congressional directed spending application with Congressman Ryan. This is our second time. Unfortunately, again, that was denied. And now we are going again through the WIA application, and this is the process. So we opened seeker for Water District 2. For those of you in the audience who are 2 to declare a negative declaration. We did this previously, as some in the audience pointed out, years ago with Water District 14 in order to go through these funding processes. The $1.8 million bond that was done in 2021, was it? Years ago, that was proposed years ago, let's say that. I believe it was before. Basically, there were other attempts, and I believe that there were proposals when the town took over the district and had to connect, when it was a private district that basically collapsed, and the district sought assistance from different municipalities, including the village and the town. The town was the only one who wound up taking it on, and that needed substantial repairs and setup to create a public district. That's what I have done my research and found out. I believe there had to have been a bond, but I don't think it was the 1.8 that was. So I will have to get back to residents on that question. I'll allow it. Go ahead. Yeah.
Up to the
Can you-
microphone?
Yeah.
Wait till you come to the
We just want
microphone.
to have it on the record,
We want to
please.
hear you.
Your information is correct. That's what happened. So, I guess the bottom line to what I'm hoping that we can accomplish here for the community is an affordable solution. I came up with the idea, because I know what it costs, that building wells and owning your own water and not being metered would probably be the lesser expensive proposal. If we can get money that could be loaned, just like a mortgage, at a percentage for each homeowner to put a well in so they don't ever have water problems again in this district of 86 homes, and some already have done that on their own expense. I think the balance of the people who need this done, that would be a very, very viable solution. Treat it like an equity loan. You're trying to help our community and the constituents, as you say, and I think that if we could take it from that angle and analyze that versus this bond issue and come up with some sort of monetary solution by first taking account on how many homes need this help and how many don't, take account of each one and see how many people are really involved with this issue, it's going to be far cheaper than what this has been proposed over since 2013.
Yes, I appreciate that. I'm just going to continue answering all the questions. I appreciate.
Should I go away again?
You could stay here in case I need you to fact check, because I'm obviously
happy
new and
to.
I'm inherited.
I'll stay right here in
But
case
if you
you have a
could, just I'll let you know if I need you. I appreciate you.
Thank you.
So basically, that's the history that we've tried to break down for residents. That $1.8 million bond was likely the same thing that we're doing tonight. The cost estimate at the time, it was too expensive. They attempted to bond for project readiness. That's what we're doing now. We're showing the state, that we are applying and prepared to do so, to enact this project right away. It shows project readiness to do a resolution for the bond. All the application needs is the resolution for the bond. And to answer a few questions, no, if we did not secure the grant, it would not be pertinent to go through with bonding at this amount and taxing $4.2 million onto the residents of only 60 parcels. So this is, again, a resolution where we are prepared, signaling that we are prepared. We have an engineer's report. We have the project ready to go. If the state felt that this was a worthy project, we would be able to proceed immediately, having the appropriate legal setup to engage in that progress when we received the award. However, if we don't receive the award, we're already working, as you said, to investigate any other sources of funding, any other solutions. What you just said is that we at this town board were under the impression, and it's before we saw the $4.2 million price tag, is that, again, you all were a district. Barb had let me know that that was assumed sometime in 2010, and we treated it as a town as though you were a legally incorporated district. However, as you may have realized, we just finalized your district paperwork through the state legislature last year, and that had to be walked as special legislation along with the special legislation that allowed your district, because it was never a formal district beforehand, we just decided it was at a local level. We have to follow legal processes, has been the theme of, everything we do here, is that there's a lot of
Everything takes
legal,
years, I get it.
Yeah, there's a lot of
So
legal.
how many people are in District 14? You said 60.
There are
I thought-
60 parcels. That's what I have on my.
60, I thought was number
But
two.
there's 60 homes, but there's 82 or 86.
It's
I think it's
84.
84. I have,
Parcels,
Excuse
parcels.
me. Don't crosstalk, please. It's very hard on
Right.
me.
There's, yeah,
there's
60.
86 parcels according to what I have from 2012 and 13. It says it still exists as 86 parcels. I don't know.
I have a budget sheet right in front of me that says 60 parcels. I don't know if those are active members. It could be, like your question, those who are users in the district, but I have the sheet that says 60, so we're happy to investigate that. But it's somewhere, under 100
Excuse me, Maureen, I
parcels.
think it's 60 water users.
Yes,
water
I'm just reading
customers.
what the actual sheet
60
in front
were
of me.
users of the
I
municipals?
think that there's 60 water customers for the
Okay.
town of Monroe, but there's 80-something parcels.
Okay,
That sounds correct.
that's, yeah.
Maureen, yeah, because here in the engineering report, it says the existing water district consists of 84 lots.
Yep.
60 of which are currently connected to the water, public water system.
Okay, yes, that
Okay.
makes sense. That this is
And
on the
as
taxable
of what
district
point
sheet.
was that report made?
This is July 13th, 2026.
Oh, so it's recent.
Yes.
So you're saying the subsequent homes are approximately 26 wells are on that?
24.
Or they're
24
not
lots. They're-
occupied
there's
parcels.
lots.
They could be just vacant
Yeah.
parcels as well.
That have wells? Or
No,
you
no,
don't know?
We
it doesn't
don't
doesn't
have that
specify that,
information.
no.
Oh, okay.
It's 60
It's not about the wells, it's about
Yeah.
the parcels, the SBLs.
Correct.
Section blocks and
About the
lots.
Parcels, yes.
Clear.
60 taxable user parcels in the district is what I have on my budget sheet. So, sorry, we were talking about something important before that question came up. What was the last thought?
Funding, if it didn't come through, then it would be an excessive burden on the homeowners.
Yeah, I think the ultimate conclusion here is that we're searching for alternative, that we were under the impression as a town board that it had to be done and that the district supported the legislation that was walked last year to formalize the district. But to your point and to the point of other residents in the audience, because of the high cost, it's so prohibitive that users are questioning now, why are we a district? We thought we were in 2010, it made sense, we thought we were locked into this, but then immediately after I took office, I got several complaints, including a resident that wanted to circulate a petition to decommission the district to allow individuals to drill wells, and I've heard this now from a lot of people. So we just walked special legislation last year to allow us to go out for this funding, but it seems that that cost-benefit analysis was not done prior to that, because what you're suggesting is essentially you wouldn't be a district. You're just suggesting that private property owners have individual wells and not be on public water at all. And in that case, why was all of this work done to incorporate a special district? And I've heard from over 10, that's a large portion, just who've reached out to me, and I feel that others probably feel that way and have not communicated with us.
So why do you think that
Why are we a
happened?
district?
Why do you think that happened? Because nobody maybe heard this type of information I'm trying to bring forth. So that they made a district so that they can get the funding. And now we're saying now that you can do that, you're going to have we have an estimate of a $4.3 million bond that's 60 or maybe 80 homes are going to have to pay for, which would be a prohibitive cost on top of our already current school and land taxes.
I agree.
That is not good math, it's not good sense, and so now you're saying let's find another solution. So if we have to decommission and not have the district, if I'm understanding you, and then somehow find how can we help this community that was once a summer bungalow colony have water to their now year-round houses that they weren't then and is now, then we need to figure out as a community to support all those people who need water in a much less expensive way.
And in part, the reason we're here tonight is simply to apply another round of funding, given the bag that we were handed, given the fact that this was the expressed intent of, we thought at that time when we passed this, that this was the supported initiative of the district, that they wanted to be an incorporated district, that this would be to the public benefit. And now, exactly as I said, and as you said, this is not mathing unless we can find either a village assistance, support.
We could be a district if it's affordable.
Just another resident has a question.
Yeah.
Please come to the mic, sir.
Are you saying that if we're in a water district, we're not allowed to drill a well? Is that like a legal thing?
I would have to check the specific incorporation of your district, but that is a prohibition in other incorporated districts, yes.
That's a big deal.
Yes, so that's a
So
detail
that would prevent
that
future wells to be dug if we're a district?
it could be if that was in the language of the incorporation and the town of Monroe district. There are other districts that do have that prohibition, especially in Harriman, they have that prohibition.
Why would they do that?
There's another resident. Because once you establish, I'm just gonna be honest, once you establish a normal district, say that there wasn't this need, we just enacted that we're taking on the responsibility as a town for the water. The town becomes responsible for enacting infrastructure. We're taxing you, we're expending public funds. We want the revenue related to all of the water.
To be able to pay for it?
Yes, to pay for it
So
and
let
to
me
pay as
make
the
a
town
point that the
revenue.
lawsuit that was brought by Toby Gross in the 1970s or early 80s, Zadoff owned it privately, no different than the town owning it publicly. She wanted to drill a well. He said, you can't, it's illegal.
Yes.
Then what happened at that point is because he wanted everybody to pay, and then he would be in total control of the amount of money he can charge.
Yes, that's the official position of towns
Let me just
as a
finish so I don't
whole.
lose my thought because I'm
Sorry.
old. Okay, my brain doesn't,
Go
it's
ahead.
on the line here. I'm on the railroad. So with that said, I understand that you have to have a certain amount of commitment, which is why they probably would ban water wells being dug while the district is being approved, because where are they going to get their revenue to pay for this bond?
Yes.
That's clear. You see, I'm kind of smart. Now, with that said, so we either decommission this as a district and find a way of funding wells, which is a much cheaper, viable solution in my mind. And if I could be proven wrong, please present it to me in a future
You might
date.
have other options that we could present to the district after this
so
round.
what happens to those who already have wells and they approve this district, like me? Do I pay double?
No, you pay a base rate as a member of the district who's a non-user, if I'm not mistaken.
So that we need numbers of what that.
You're not on the public system right now, correct? And you got taxed.
I got taxed.
Because it's a capital improvement. So you do pay into the capital improvements of the
Just
system.
like the sewer district.
Yeah, yep.
Because it benefits the community, and even if you're not using it, you're paying for the infrastructure to pay for the pipes.
That's the legality of that, yes.
I understand that.
So I'm gonna take a couple more questions, and then I'm gonna answer the remaining questions, and then we have to move on, but I'm happy to have these discussions.
Thank you. I just wanted to ask, this has been proposed numerous times before, and nothing has been done. I spoke here 3 or 4 years ago. Jeffrey has come here and spoken, and so this has been a proposal for many times. I don't know why at this point it seems like maybe now this is an option. and it wasn't for years. And if it were, all of these taxes could have been obviated
I agree.
for years.
I agree.
So I don't understand why today, 2026, suddenly there's a possibility that this district can be dissolved.
I'm not the one advising on like legal possibility. I've just expressed that may be the intent of residents, and I'm happy to look into it in case other proposals, now that you are an incorporated district, do not make sense in terms of a cost-benefit analysis. We may have a few other options. However, I'm agreeing that it doesn't seem that the actual residents, like your impression again as a totality of residents, 80, 60 people in the district, thought you were an incorporated district in 2010. It made sense to pursue certain routes if you weren't completely aware of the costs and, again, the benefits and the number of users who are on the well versus the public.
We were aware of the costs.
Is it possible?
I meant the administration. I'm referring to the previous administrations, that it seems like these are the motions that an administration goes through when they're trying to seek funding, make a public district work, make those public district improvements. However, this isn't the solution. You see what I'm saying? Is you have to do a little bit more digging. Sometimes it's not obvious, and everybody has their own way of doing it. We are taking a really hard look at this because we've failed so many times at this point.
Is it possible to amend the water district to allow wells?
I have to get the contract
that would help.
language and the legislation that was walked, and I'm happy to answer those questions. If everybody in this district on their way out, actually, Barb, could, like, everyone who wants to be on an email group, can you just make a piece of paper? And also, if you could email your neighbors, and then we could start an email group relating to this, because a lot of this is going to have to be brought from the actual legislative language and the actual enacted law for the district and the
How
contract
soon do you need
language.
the email list?
Sorry?
Tonight?
Yeah, just go on your way
Well, we
out.
only have a few neighbors here. I'm saying in general for the entire community who's going to be affected, should probably be on the email list.
Yes, and so just help us start that off by leaving your contact information so that we can
Okay,
respond.
we'll
and
help
get
you
back to
if you help us.
Yeah, I'm trying. I'm really trying.
Yeah, I just had Matt Sickler. Can you just address the residents?
Jeff?
That sometimes there's a possibility that if everybody drills their own well, they still won't have enough water? Since you're on the planning board, you kind of understand that. Could you explain it to them?
You're saying that...
Wait, I'm going to have the engineer.
Yeah, we're gonna have to move on. I'm sorry, and allow just the.
Okay.
Yeah.
You're asking me a question? Or?
No,
No,
engineer.
sorry. The
Oh, I thought it was for
engineer.
me. That's
Thank
why I
you so
came
much.
back.
Yeah.
I don't want to hog the mic. I'm going to go back to my seat.
No, I was asking for you.
So at one point, this was created as a water system with the approval of the health department. One of the issues with lot size and multiple wells is you're now withdrawing from multiple sources within the same aquifer, or
We have a little quiet in the audience so everyone can hear the engineer, please.
so you're trying to withdraw, from 60, 80 sources, whatever, within the aquifer, as opposed to a single source. You may not be able to do that without impacting other wells in close proximity to it. In other words, when we pump test a well, we monitor other wells around it to see how you affect that. That may be one of the reasons why this was a central system. The other issue that would have to be researched in regards to putting individual wells is you need to maintain proper separation distances from everybody's septic systems, sewer systems, things like that. So it is something that can be looked at, but there's a reason this was created as a central system to begin with the health department. Undoing that to allow everybody to drill individual wells would require going back through the health department as well, and adequate testing and research would need to be done to demonstrate to them that that's feasible. So, not easy, but
Thank you, Matt.
It's out there, yep.
Appreciate it. Yeah, every one of our options right now has the downside.
That we have each parcel in that community on or about a half acre or a third of acre. I know we have the room between them. It's not like Mountain Lodge Park, so there should be enough room for that without well contamination. We're all on sewer, we're not on septic, so it should not contaminate. It's not Mountain Lodge Park.
Please come up to the mic, sir, and finish off your thoughts.
That community has on or about half acre parcels and some are third acre parcels. I know that because I've been there forever. I'm 100 years old. And the point is that none of them have leach fields. It's all on sewer. We pay sewer bills. That was put in the I think 1983. I remember all this because I've been in this community. I'm really not 100 since 1963. So I know what was going on. I didn't know then. I was only 4 years old. But the point is, I know the history of Orchard Hill Estates Jewish Community Center that became a private community and how big these parcels are because my family was quite involved at that time. So in terms of contaminations, septic, you're right, it should be looked at. But I know that these properties can support it. We have very high water tables too. Okay, that's it.
Thank you so much. And in the interest of time, I really do appreciate all the information, but we're just gonna have to answer the questions that have been asked very quickly and then move on. So I will get back to the residents with specifically how much this would cost per household because that requires the percentage of parcel breakdown of the size of the property. It doesn't just evenly disperse. Are we looking into other resources? Absolutely. We've talked about that already, about how many times we've attempted funding, and I'm still pursuing other state discretionary funding because this is not related to water quality, which would be restricted to WIA. It is capital improvement infrastructure, so our legislators can give out discretionary funding. However, that has ceiling limits and it might not move the needle. However, we could do an adapted proposal such as options discussed here. We would have to obviously work with Matt and MHE to do any sort of further options. The generators were selected in that round of aforementioned discretionary funding back in, I'm sorry, the deadline to expend the money is this year in October. I think it was 2023 that application, Marianne, went through. I'm sorry that your district wasn't selected. It did go to Water District 1. We can certainly petition our state legislators for future grants for generators, and we can pursue that through Millennium Grant Company. I wasn't aware that this district also was in need of that. I believe the project proposal that we're looking at obviously probably includes or removes the issue in terms of the generator backup. I'll get back to you with more information on that. So will people who have wells be impacted by the capital improvements? Yes, you've already been impacted by the capital improvements as we just discussed, just differently because of user versus non-user and the property size that you have. Someone asked the property taxes to the Village of Monroe that they've paid, can we request assistance from the village? So yes, you pay property taxes because you're a resident of the Village of Monroe. We will request assistance because we are not too proud to ask anyone for help. However, this is a special district and it is separately taxed. Your water has nothing to do with your other property taxes such as police services, garbage, everything like that. They are separate in that special district. They don't overlap. So your water district, everything that you're receiving isn't related to your general property tax bill through the village, but we are happy to reach out to see if they could propose a hookup to their system, anything that they could do.
I'm sorry.
Why not?
Because we went back in the beginning of this whole thing. Marianne and I started the whole water thing with Dole back in 2012 when the individual that ran the well walked away from the well when he passed away. So we went to the town or to the village to get rid of our well, get hooked up to the village well. The amount of money that they wanted to charge us per gallon was way out of control.
It's
It was-
only gone up.
It's
only
gone
gone
up, but it outweighed the repair of our lines that we had. So we said, build the water district that we had.
At this point, it's cheaper.
Right. So, but there was also conversations of, because the amount of water that our well produces, to sell that water to other areas to get revenue back from that in order to help fix some of the issues that we had. So there was many conversations with Dole and everybody else on
Sorry,
this.
could you repeat that one more time about
So
the revenue?
similar to what the village was going to do to us is hook us up to their
Oh,
water
you were
lines.
going to sell.
But what the village wanted to do, they wanted us to rebuild a well that was out on the racetrack and then do that. Then they would hook us up because they didn't have the structure to feed our community. So between building between what they would charge us per gallon and rebuilding their racetrack well, it outweighed the cost to repair the well that's there today and the water lines. Back when we started doing the conversation with the community, yes, there were some people that wanted wells, but the whole community voted on whether they wanted wells, whether they want to stay on the system themselves, which is where we got the 60 people versus some that don't. So the cost of the whatever million we're looking at today is way above the other one because cost of living and everything else that's costing.
What's a full system infrastructure redo with ductile iron? That's what we're proposing, and we're
No, I
trying
get it,
to
but
see
I'm just
funding.
filling in where you tried the village.
Yes.
And they want us to rebuild something that we already had, and all we needed is somebody to operate it, put chlorine in it, test it, and do all that services, plus then repair our lines, because the cost was going to be too much from the village.
Yes,
So
I understand.
if they're going to do the same thing today as repair one of their wells, it doesn't make sense to us.
Obviously, we'd have to evaluate any response that we received from the village. There's a different administration there today. There's a different level of need there today. Again, your system is held together by bubble gum
I
and
get it.
paper clips, and
I've
so
seen
we
it,
will
so.
be investigating that and bringing that information forward to users. Because we're going to be doing a cost benefit and an engineering analysis on literally every option. So I appreciate the history, and thank you so much. If you could just, thank you so much. So the tax bill question, what did you see in Water District 14? It was the repayment, the interfund loan transfer, principal and interest was taxed in last year's budget and taxes, and that is what you saw per household, the large increase, and that part of that will be a recurring charge, unfortunately, as a repayment of the $544,000 that the B fund, the town gave to your water district, that your water district then owes the town. So that is a completely separate matter than the additional repairs and potential additional bonding necessary, because even if we don't bond at 4.2 million, we're still going to be needing to pursue a bond for infrastructure repairs that we decide upon based on this award, because it is full infrastructure collapse and it needs a system review. So again, there were questions about the differences in well properties versus those serviced by the district. I have to look how that's broken out. We discussed it. So private roads versus public roads, it doesn't really play a factor. Again, you're members of the special district, and it can encompass village, town, private, public. The roads don't really play any kind of portion because it's an established special district that's a benefit assessed role. You are listed in the benefit assessed district. It's published every time that we do tax increases. Yes.
I think what they're saying is when you come in and do the complete overhaul of the infrastructure, you're going to dig up people's private roads that people privately paid to have paved. Will they be repaired? I think that was the question.
I believe that the cost would be accrued to the special district then for that repair. Unfortunately, it doesn't make it like new again, but it's just a necessary infrastructure improvement, that we have to cut a road, then we have to cut it, whether it's private or public. Thank you, Barb. I answered this one, it's important to repeat. So how can we support a bond so large if we didn't support the 1.8? How can we do a 4.2? Again, we're unlikely to move forward unless under the gun that this is absolutely the only option for residents. This is just in pursuit of funding. Again, it's the resolution to approve the bond that indicates project readiness that will be put in your packet for the WIA application. It does not invoke the bond. It does not imply the bond. It does not incur debt. And we will get the questions answered for how many homes are publicly serviced. It's 60, and how many homes have private wells. We have to determine that. And the total repairs of the water district cutting into the road. I'm not certain, Barb, do you have the answer for when we did the repairs, or Matt, when we did the repairs, water district passed, did we pay for the road?
The town fixed the private roads when they dug them up.
Yes, but were the taxes of the special district paid to the highway department for those? We'll have to how that works. Okay, we'll get those answers. That's all I've got. And one more question, and then we have to really move on, and we have to do the same thing for other
I do think that's an
districts.
important factor, because if so, then that means that everybody in that district is being double billed, because we do pay highway taxes to begin with. So that's why I feel that that's an important.
If it's the case that the special district is charged for the specific cost, first of all, of a private road, no one is being double billed for that because it's privately owned by those residents.
No, public road.
And if, I'm saying in the case of where it is private, I'll answer both. In the case where it is private, no one is being taxed. So if you were taxed through your water district to pay those owners back or for those repairs necessary to the highway department, that seems fair. And in the case where it is a public road, that's not scope where the highway department would be intervening, and it wouldn't be included in what you are taxed for in general. If that is legally applied, I believe it would be excluded. I'm not sure if it is, so again, I will have to find that answer. But it's more complicated than that. It can be excluded in what you're actually billed for. You get an itemized bill,
Correct.
basically, and so.
And I have both the highway department and then this water bill. So.
But if it's not included in what you're being taxed for in the normal operations of the highway department, you're not being taxed for it because it's not within the normal operations of the department, so they would be going above and beyond. And I believe if it's even the highway department, it could be an outside entity doing the repairs, like who we've licensed to do the repairs might be the ones cutting into the road. I'd have to examine that. I don't believe that there's double billing going on. I'll just answer that. Thank you. Okay, so we've got, are we at 5.7 or did I skip?
No, we're at motion to close the public hearing.
Yeah, which one?
5.4.
5.4.
5.4.
Okay, so I'm going to make the motion to close the public hearing regarding Water District Number 14 in relation to the increase and improvement of facilities. Be it resolved that the Town Board of the Town of Monroe makes a motion to close the public hearing in relation to the increase and improvement of facilities.
Bingham will second.
Call the question.
Rivera, aye.
Bingham, aye.
Richardson, aye.
Stevens, aye.
All right, I'm going to make, let's see, the adoption of the order. Be it resolved that the Town Board of the Town of Monroe made the following resolution by Supervisor Richardson, seconded by Louis Rivera, Councilman Rivera.
Yes.
Regarding the adoption of the order after public hearing for Water District Number 2 in relation to the increase and improvement of facilities. I'll call the question.
Rivera, aye.
Bingham, aye.
Richardson, aye.
Stevens, aye.
Okay, now we have the public hearing for the bond resolution to authorize bonds regarding Water District Number 2. Be it resolved that the town board of the town of Monroe makes the following, does it have to be in this format? A resolution by Supervisor Richardson and seconded by Councilman Rivera regarding bond resolution to authorize bonds regarding Water District Number 2 in relation to the increase and improvement of facilities. Call the question.
Rivera, aye.
Bingham, aye.
Richardson, aye.
Stevens, aye.
Maureen, that was 5.6, correct?
That one was 5.6, yes. It was the bond resolution to authorize bonds regarding Water District Number 2.
Thank you.
Okay, we have the adoption of the order for 14. So be it resolved that the town board of the town of Monroe made the following resolution by Supervisor Richardson and seconded by Rivera regarding the adoption of the order after public hearing for Water District Number 14 in relation to the increase and improvement of facilities. Call the question.
Rivera, aye.
Bingham, aye.
Richardson, aye.
Stevens, aye.
All right, so we have the 5.8 bond resolution to authorize bonds. Be it resolved that the town board of the town of Monroe makes the following resolution by Supervisor Richardson and seconded by regarding bond resolution to authorize bonds regarding Water District Number 14 in relation to the increase and improvements of facilities. Call the question.
Rivera, aye.
Bingham, aye.
Richardson, aye.
Stevens, aye.
Motion to adjourn the 7/23/2026 special meeting at 9:15 p.m.
Second.
Call the question.
Rivera, aye.
Bingham, aye.
Richardson, aye.
Stevens, aye.